Today, we are diving into a really powerful idea. What happens when you take the principles from some of the world's best restaurants and apply them to healthcare? How it can completely transform the patient experience. Look, as physicians, nurses, and APPs, we're all laser-focused on delivering top-notch clinical care. That's the goal, right? But we have to ask ourselves a really important question. Beyond all the treatments and the charts, how do our patients actually feel? Is there a gap between the excellent service we provide and the feeling of being truly cared for? So, here's how we're going to break that down. We're going to look at that gap by stepping outside of medicine for a minute. We'll define the crucial difference between service and hospitality, share a pretty incredible story from the restaurant world, and then, most importantly, translate it all back into our day-to-day clinical practice. We all aim for clinical excellence. I mean, it's our North Star. It's the absolute foundation of what we do. But here's the thing. Technical skill, on its own, doesn't always equal a positive human experience. And it's in that space, right between the procedure and the person, that we have our biggest opportunity to make a real difference. And you know, this isn't just some abstract idea. It's a conversation that's happening right now. Groups like the Culture Coalition are digging into this, asking, hey, what can we in healthcare possibly learn from fine dining about creating genuine human connection? We're about to find out. So to find the answers, we're not cracking open another medical journal. Nope. We're actually looking to some pretty unlikely mentors for healthcare, true pioneers from the world of fine dining. These are people who have absolutely mastered the art of making people feel seen and valued.
Our guides are Danny Meyer and Will Guidera. I mean, these guys are titans. They built their empires not just on incredible food, but on creating legendary experiences. Their books, Setting the Table and Unreasonable Hospitality, well, they basically give us the playbook we're going to be exploring.
Okay, first things first. We need to nail down a really fundamental distinction they both make. It's this idea of service versus hospitality, and it all starts with the technical side of our jobs. So service is the what? It's the technical part of care. Did you give the right medicine at the right time? Check. Was the procedure a success? Check. Did you finish the chart correctly? Check. It's all transactional, it's procedural, and it is absolutely 100% critical. But it's only half the story. I love how Will Guidara puts it. He says, service is black and white. Hospitality is color. It's so simple, right? Service is the checklist, it's the protocol, the stuff that just has to be right. But hospitality? That's where all the color, all the life, all the magic really happens. Let's bring this right into a hospital room. Service is giving the meds on time. Hospitality is taking 30 seconds to explain what the medicine is for with a little bit of empathy. Service is getting the chart done. Hospitality is remembering to call the patient by the name they actually prefer. Service is the successful surgery. Hospitality is just pausing for a moment to ask, are you comfortable? And then really waiting for the answer. See the difference? So let's talk about that color. This is the human side of care. Honestly, it's the part that our patients and their families are going to remember way, way longer than any of the clinical details. Hospitality is basically the emotional aftertaste of the service you just delivered. It's not what you did, it's how you made them feel while you were doing it. It's that feeling of being seen, of being known, of being cared for, not just treated. It's all about connection. To really get the power of this, let me tell you this incredible story from Will Guidara's restaurant. He overhears a table of tourists, they're at the end of this amazing trip, and they're saying they ate everywhere, but they had just one regret. They never got a real New York City hot dog from a street cart. So what does the manager do? He doesn't just hear it, he listens. He quietly excuses himself, sprints out the front door, finds a street vendor, buys a $2 hot dog, and runs back. Then he gets his 4-star chef to plate this thing perfectly, with fancy ketchup and mustard swirls. The result? The table absolutely lost their minds. Guidara said he'd never seen a reaction like it. That little hot dog became the highlight, not just of a multi-$100 meal, but of their entire trip to New York. Just think about that. And that is the whole point. This idea of unreasonable hospitality isn't about spending a ton of money. That gesture wasn't expensive. It was priceless. And why? Because it was just for them. It showed that somebody was paying attention, that somebody was listening, and that somebody cared enough to turn a throwaway comment into an unforgettable moment. So the big question, right? How in the world do we take this idea from a fancy restaurant and bring it into the controlled chaos of patient care? Well, it's actually way more doable than you'd think. And it starts way before you even enter a patient's room.
According to Danny Meyer, it all begins with who you hire. He has this thing called the 51% solution. Basically, 49% of a candidate's value is their technical skill, their clinical expertise. That's just the ticket to get in the door. But the other 51%, a majority, is all about their emotional skills, their natural capacity for hospitality.
He calls this a high hospitality quotient, or HQ, and it's made up of these 6 core skills. Are they kind and optimistic? Are they curious? Do they have a great work ethic? And then the big ones. Do they have empathy, self-awareness, and integrity? His argument is you can teach someone the clinical stuff, but it's a whole lot harder to teach these fundamental human traits. Okay, so let's translate this directly to the floor. Overhearing a guest's regret. That's listening for a patient's tiny, unspoken worries. You know, that little quiver in their voice. The surprise hot dog? That's the warm blanket you bring before they even realize they're cold. Or grabbing a cup of water for a family member who's been coughing. Remembering a favorite table is like remembering the name of a patient's kid and just asking how they are. It's all about empowering everyone on the team to solve for human comfort, not just for clinical problems. So why does all this matter so much? Because when we focus on hospitality, we're not just trying to bump up patient satisfaction scores. We're actually changing the entire nature of our work, and more importantly, the experience of healing itself. Danny Meyer just nails it when he says this. What we're really offering is emotional comfort. And in healthcare, my gosh, that is so profoundly true. Our patients are in some of the most vulnerable moments of their lives. The way we make them feel, safe, seen, cared for, that is what they're going to remember long after they forget the name of the medication we gave them. And remember, it is not about some huge, expensive gesture. It's about the small, the personal, the human moments of real connection. So I'll just leave you with this one question to take with you on your next shift. What's the simple $2 hot dog you can deliver for a patient today that will make them feel truly seen?